Critics' conversation, from Baby Reindeer to Fallout, Spring TV's left-field standouts and shiny letdowns. As television critics dissect a busy small-screen season that included some unexpected blowout hits and a string of prestige projects with lots of stars but little spark. Danielle Feinberg, the shift to a backloaded schedule built around a May 31 deadline for Emmy consideration has drained some of the surprise from the spring TV calendar. Viewers are growing accustomed to a glut of high-profile limited series and prestige returning shows from March to May, with the biggest titles and stars creating their own gravitational fields of self-perpetuating coverage. Luckily, though, there's still room for discovery. With its literary pedigree and a budget that burst off the screen in the form of astonishing evocations of 17th-century Japan, FX's Shogun had prestige written all over it. Yet the care taken by creators Justin Marks and Rachel Kondo to deliver this story without having it reek of appropriation and voyeurism was evident throughout. Still, who would have guessed that Shogun would be so successful that the network would want to push forward with future seasons beyond James Clavell's novel, transforming the show into the potential savior of the moribund Emmy drama categories. An even more unexpected development was that the spring's two defining smashes were a pair of very different explorations of memory, trauma, and exploitation within the entertainment industry. ID's Quiet on the Set, the dark side of kids' TV became a phenomenon through its uncomfortable mix of millennial nostalgia and true crime. In terms of quality, Quiet on the Set had the whiff of sensationalism that hangs over much of the network's programming, but it also has the potential to help reshape an industry. Netflix's Baby Reindeer came out of nowhere. The streamer didn't even send episodes to critics in advance. But by the end of its first weekend, it was a word-of-mouth phenomenon. Astonishing for a show whose creator and star, Richard Gadd, could have walked through Beverly Hills malls entirely unnoticed the day before the premiere. So full of haunting and mortifying moments that it was nearly unwatchable at times, Baby Reindeer was equally impossible to look away from. Angie Haen Baby Reindeer is this year's Squid Game, the Netflix title that came out of nowhere to dominate the conversation among normies and critics alike in 2021. And as with Squid Game, the hype was earned. Gadd's portrait of abuse is so brutally candid that it would feel like mere self-flagellation were it not for its equal emphasis on empathy for both its protagonist and his stalker. However, I wonder if it broke through in part because so many of this spring's big, buzzy, prestige shows just weren't good. Don't get me wrong, I still found plenty to love. I was blown away by Shogun's dazzling world-building and complicated characters. Ripley was hands down the most gorgeous thing Netflix has ever produced, anchored by Andrew Scott's perfectly off-putting Tom. And while it didn't get nearly as much attention, Apple TV Plus's Manhunt impressed by sneaking a searing history lesson into a propulsive conspiracy thriller. But I admired more than loved Netflix's three-body problem, cool ideas, lopsided plotting, and HBO's The Sympathizer, bold swings, too much Robert Downey Jr. I was taken with the performances in Hulu's Under the Bridge, but underwhelmed by the storytelling. I can't argue with the gravity of Holocaust dramas like Hulu's We Were the Lucky Ones and Peacock's The Tattooist of Auschwitz, but important isn't always the same thing as compelling. And that's not even getting into the glossy mediocrity of Peacock's Apple's Never Fall and Apple TV Plus' Palm Royale. A star-studded cast cannot save a show that seems to have no idea what it wants to be in the first place. Feinberg, I prefer glossy mediocrity to dull mediocrity, which has become one of Apple TV Plus' most lucrative brands, as typified by the sci-fi glumness of Dark Matter, which lacked any sense of fun within its loopy multiverse plot, the hopelessly bland Franklin, and the tonally jumbled The Big Cigar, which tried without success to blend wacky Hollywood heist hijinks with an overview of the history of the Black Panther.